Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Midnight Monster Corner podcast. I'm your host, as always, Corey, and alongside me is my good pal, Tony. What's going on, Tony?
What's going on, everybody?
What's happening, brother?
Another
So,
good, another good episode, man. Can't wait for this one.
yeah, this one's going to be a good one. So, originally, we were going to do Maniac, the remake.
Mhm.
But as we plan on doing things, you and I, we always have a bad juju when it comes to us trying to plan something. Something always never goes full plan.
No, it never
So,
does, man.
no. So basically, you watched the film, you were ready to do the review, and I went to go watch the film and found out that my kids got a hold of the movie. So can't watch it right now. So that's always fun. That's actually a first. My kids usually never mess with my movies. So but we do have a good episode though this week. We're going to be talking about our collections.
Mhm.
Um, and just overall everything that we love about our collections so far. And I kind of want to get into a conversation of not only just films that we love to have in our collection and our holy grails, but what is like the worst films in our collection as well. So, which I'm excited to kind of dive into that one a little bit. But Tony, have you picked up anything this week?
Yeah, actually, I have, man. One little wanted to make a concerted effort to pick up a couple of blind buys. Movies that going in, I didn't do any research on. Just looked at the cover, grabbed it, and said, "Hey, that kind of gets my attention. The cover's pretty cool." So I picked up two from Wally World. Well, actually, three from Wally World. I'm not quite sure if I talked about these two per se on the last podcast, but one of the films is called Haunt. It's pretty cool. It's a slasher movie set on one of those haunted makeshift haunted houses that they put on, that people just, pay ticket price to go into, just some run of the mill one, but the it's a little bit more demented than the couple of kids, you know, they they don't know what they're getting themselves into. Let's just say that. It's actually I did watch it and it was really really good, man. Really really surprising. Not that I had low expectations or anything, but I wasn't expecting it to be nearly as good as it was. So that's a high recommendation. And another one that I picked up from Wally World was called Open 24 Hours, which is another one I saw. It's a cool little slasher film, takes place in a at a gas station, and it's really cool, man. There's a rainy atmosphere, and there's a lot of like good cinematography, and the acting's pretty solid too. This is another one I would definitely recommend. And then another one I picked up. This cover just really sucked me in, and then I saw Shutter on the cover, so I was like, yeah, I got to pick this up. It's called The Barge People.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, this one's really, really good too, man. I watched it last night actually. It's got a really cool opening title card too, really 80s, and it's got some pretty good gore. The barge people themselves. I'd say it's like I'm trying to think. It's like a mixture of Wrong Turn, Hills Have Eyes, with a little H.P. Lovecraft thrown in there. With the creatures and stuff like that. But it's really, really good, man. Another good one. And then I got three more that I haven't seen yet. One is called Jack in the Box, which is another one that just drew me in with the cover. It's got like this sick, demented looking clown coming out of this box, and it just looks really cool. Um, the the quote on the back says "Hellraiser meets Pennywise," so I don't know. Looks pretty interesting though, man. I'm digging that. Can't wait to sit down and watch that. Another one I picked up is called Cleavers Killer Clowns. I'm a sucker for anything killer clown or, just clowns in general. So this one looked really interesting. A sick killer clown flick. So yeah, it says violent, gory, and it's a classic. So we'll see. I guess. Well, it's another one I'm gonna have to check out probably this weekend. And the last one up is a film called Boo. Don't know anything about. Like I said, another blind buy. Don't know anything about this one at all. I know it takes place on Halloween, which is cool. October's steadily approaching, so maybe I'll hold off on watching that one till around October. But yeah, those are the pickups for me for the week and well, the last week and a half.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, it's been kind of a busy week for me, so I honestly haven't bought anything or watched anything. Um, just everything's been I've just been going and going and going. So hopefully I can have some time. I got kind of a long weekend this weekend, so I'm probably gonna end up watching quite a few, probably.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to do the same, man. I know Saturday's coming up. I don't, have anything planned for that, so I might just sit down and do a little marathon or something. It's been a while since I've done that. Definitely
Yeah.
want to check out those. Definitely want to check out at least the two that aren't centered around Halloween. Like I said, I'll save Boo for October, some October viewing, but along with the other essential October viewing
Oh,
um,
definitely.
flicks that you normally watch. So yeah, hopefully we'll get into some this weekend, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna sit down and watch. God, I think I'm gonna try and watch the new Suspiria film this weekend. I'm definitely gonna hit that one up.
Yeah, you got to dedicate some serious time for that one, man. That's a long movie.
Yeah, I've been wanting to watch that one, so I'm excited about that one. Real quick before we get into the general discussion of this episode, I did want to talk about some news that I found out. So first things first, we talked a little bit about the teaser trailer that just came out. I don't know if it came out today or not, or it's recent, but Terrifier 2. What's your thoughts?
Oh man, I'm so looking forward to it. I know the director said that it was funded and that he was definitely going to put it out. So I've been just just riddled with anticipation. And then when the teaser trailer dropped, and actually you sent me the link to it, I didn't realize it did. You sent me the link to it. I couldn't have clicked on that link fast enough. And art looks demented and evil and as badass as always. So I
He
know.
looks he looks more gorier on this one, doesn't he? Like he's
Yeah, I mean
covered in
he's
fucking blood.
definitely, yeah, definitely, man. So there's going to be some carnage, and I can't wait, dude. I'm really excited. I know. Um, I heard a quote from I can't remember if it was a website I was on or something, but the director said that, and don't paraphrase. I'm just paraphrasing here, but he said something about there being more blood and guts and gore in the first I don't know couple minutes of the movie than the whole first movie. So I'm really excited, dude. That's hyping me up big time. So it can't. Yeah, I mean that movie just can't come out soon enough.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm excited for it too. I've been hoping that that they were gonna make a sequel, so I was glad to finally see that drop today.
Yeah, because I know I'm probably getting a little ahead of myself, but I mean, that's one character I'd love to see a franchise around.
Yeah,
I,
same.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Um, the other news, and you might know, I haven't talked to you about this yet, but so you might actually know about it. Um, never hike in the snow. Do you know about this?
I could kind of take a guess. Is it a Jason film set in the snow?
It is.
Okay, I thought so. Maybe I've heard
Yeah.
about it or I've heard something about it, but I wasn't quite sure of the title. But that title just makes me think of Jason Voorhees in a snowy setting. So
Yeah. Well, supposedly the teaser trailer dropped, or I guess it's the official trailer dropped on the first, and I actually just found out about it yesterday. I think I saw something on it. Um, but I'm really excited about it. But yeah, but yeah, it's a fan film. I'm just glad to see Jason kind of somewhat back on the screen.
yeah, definitely, man. I know. another one I want to see is Never Hike Alone. That's another Friday the 13th fan film I have yet to see. I'm really, really, really want to track that down and check it out, man. Because I don't know, man. It seems like the guys that are making these fan films are just, I mean, they're really dedicated to the source material and they're
Mhm.
putting out good stuff. So, that's another one. I definitely want to check it out.
Yeah. Well, this is it talks about Tommy Jarvis, so I'm guessing Tommy Jarvis has something to do with this.
Yeah.
Um, but from what I understand, this is set 3 months prior to Never Hike Alone. So
Okay.
this is almost like a prequel to Never Hike Alone.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Hmm.
Sweet, dude.
So yeah, I'm not gonna really go into it too much. If you guys want to read more about it or whatever, and check out the trailer, everything is on iHorror.com. And I have that app on my phone, so I can just pull it up and check stuff out. But iHorror, it's spelled literally the letter I horror.com. So, but yeah, so yeah, let's go ahead and jump straight into this, man. So our collections, I'll tell a little bit about the history of your collection, Tony.
Mm. Um, Man, the history of my collection. The first couple of movies that really got the ball rolling for me. I know one for sure, and I mentioned it on the previous podcast that we did about Maniac. The Maniac DVD. That's one of the first movies I bought for the collection. And that's what got the ball rolling on me saying, hey, I love the fact that, hey, this is a really cool label that's putting this out, Blue Underground. I love the way they put out their physical media, with the clear cases and of course the spine with the Blue Underground and that
Mhm.
stuff just I mean, being a physical media guy, that stuff just gets me. And I love when especially these companies use the original cover art or the original poster. I mean that just I mean I know another one of my favorite companies that does it, Code Red. Code Red does it phenomenally. And I love hunting down everything Code Red DVD. Um, and I'm still trying to pick up everything I can from that company. As because I mean, just I don't know, man. The types of titles that they put out, and the care that they put into them, like it's really cool. I just love Code Red. I love looking at the spines and the number on them and stuff like that. But Maniac's one that really got the ball rolling for me. Another one was the 25th anniversary special edition of Zombie 2 that Shriek Show put out. It's another one that was one of the first ones that kind of got the ball rolling for the collection. Um, that release is so cool. I remember, unfortunately, the one I have did not come with a poster because there was a fold out poster that
Mhm.
that comes with it, but mine didn't come with a poster. But the edition itself is just so cool. I really do enjoy it. It's so neat. It's so neat, man. And it really, at the time, it was a really good print of the movie too. Shriek Show did a fantastic job, um, just with everything they put into this release. But yeah, man, those are some of the first ones that kind of got the ball rolling. I know there's a story. Me and you had a buddy that was at the flea market that sold a lot of horror titles, and I remember picking up a couple from him. One in particular, and it's not really a good movie per se, but it's really cool. It's called The Forest, and it's another Code Red. It's for first and only Code Red I've ever picked up at the flea market. Well, actually, no, that's not true because with that, I also got Dead Pit, which is another Code Red release. So I picked up those two from him, and I had never, we'd never seen them, seen him up there before like that. We struck up a conversation with him, became good friends, and um, those are two that I just never in a million years would have thought I'd find at a flea market of all places. Um,
Yeah.
it's crazy sometimes. You just when you're out there hunting and just digging through, there's always that one title. It's like, oh wow, like I can't believe that I found that of all titles at a flea market or a swap meet or whatever. I mean, it's really cool. It gets your adrenaline going when you're out there hunting and trying to find certain films for the collection. Um, but yeah, those are a couple that come to mind right away. That got the ball rolling on me, just wanting to at first saying, "Hey, I just want to collect all the titles off of this line," and then as a physical media collector, it's hard. There's a couple titles that you want, and then you also want to finish with a line like Shriek Show or
Hmm.
Code Red, Blue Underground, Anchor Bay. Anchor Bay's tough because there's so many. And a lot of these, they're really hard to find now because a lot of these companies, I mean, they have out of print stuff, and some of them can be really pricey. So you have to really like do your homework and really get them when you see a good deal. Sometimes they'll pop up for a good deal. And other times it's really hard. You'll have to say, hey, maybe one of these days I'll get it, but now is just not the time. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That's always seems to be my problem. Then you go back and it's never there.
it's never there. Yeah. I've had a lot of those problems with because I'm a big Code Red guy. I like to collect this line, and some of those, I mean, some of those titles are really really hard to find. I know one in particular that was my holy grail for the longest time was a movie called Primal Rage. That for the longest time was extremely difficult to find, and I must have searched on that movie for maybe 4 years, just on and off, just trying to see a decent copy pop up, and then finally one day I saw a decent copy pop up, and I was like, "Yeah, I gotta get it." So I snagged it as soon as possible because I had missed out on one, and now thinking back, I'm kind of glad I did because it was really expensive, and I didn't want to pay that much for it, but that's the cheapest I had seen it. So until I picked up my copy, which was considerably cheaper. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'll get into the Holy Grail in a minute. I'm gonna dive into kind of the history of mine. Um, which really, there's really only two movies that I ultimately remember. Like when I ultimately said, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna start collecting.
Mhm.
The first two movies that I remember buying, and it was at Scratch and Spin.
Mm.
No, there was there was something else that I bought. Okay, so so I remember definitely buying My Bloody Valentine.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that was kind of the start of it all. That and Psycho. And I had never seen that edition of Psycho before, so I was really excited about having that one. And that kind of right away was like, okay, because this isn't a regular, this is like a box. So this
Mhm.
wasn't this wasn't like an actual DVD case. It was basically a box, and I was like, all right, so this is going to be the start of this, and I think that's what fed it all. And then of course us feeding off of one another, um, as far as kind of uh, basically persuading each other to buy more and more. So, but the other one was, I believe, it was the DVD for Return of the Living Dead. I think all three of those titles I bought in one day at Scratch and Spin.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's kind of the history there, and then it's just taken off from there. And going to what you were saying as far as collecting a line or trying to collect a line. Me, I've done that for a long time. Because I've been in love with the IFC Midnights,
Mhm.
uh, even down to geez, what's the name of that company? But Blue Underground is another one. Synapse, Scream Factory. So you want to collect those titles because all those, and like you said with the spines, all the spines look the same. Even the what's that? The Midnight movie line or Midnight movie? Yeah, it's Midnight movie line, right? From MGM.
Yeah.
That yeah. So all the cases look the same. you know, and I love that. And that's and you've said it time and time again. You kind of summed it up in basically case horror.
I mean, I mean, especially with the, I know I've rearranged the collection a couple times, and I've said, hey, should I do? This is another thing I struggle with. Should I keep it alphabetical or should I do it, based off the companies? But I have a lot of mixed companies in the collection. Like there's some that only had 2 or 3 releases, and there's some that have a shit ton of releases. So it's like, I want to keep my Blue Undergrounds together because they look nice together. They got the clear cases. I mean, they look really, really flush and uniform together. And then the Code Reds are the same way. I want to keep those together because they look really uniform together. Shriek Shows the same way. All my Anchor Bays. I mean, I thought about that, and at one point, I actually tried to organize them that way, but I had so much that like I couldn't do it, man. I had to just go back to do it alphabetical because it's so much easier. Because I would have just these random titles that didn't really go with anything. Like there was a title here and there that was some just obscure company that I'm like, well, I don't really know what to do with this one, so.
Yeah.
Anchor bays are easy. I have a ton of them. Blue Undergrounds are easy. I got a ton of those. Those are no problem, but it's those little, off the wall titles that you're like, I don't really know what to do with this. I can put all my traumas together. I can put, Shriek Show together, but it's these little companies that I just don't know. Maybe just do a miscellaneous kind of, you know, smorgasbord on the bottom of the shelf or something. But I don't know. That kind of like bothers me a little bit. So,
Mhm.
and I tried it and I tried in vain. I just gave up. I think I got halfway through and I was like, no, this isn't gonna work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done that. I've pulled all my titles down, and I think there was one time I was like, you know what, I'm gonna categorize these all in the different companies,
Mm.
because all the cases do look the same. Even the anchor base look the same,
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this all, Anchor Bay and Blue Underground, Dark Sky Film, IFC, Midnight, and so on and so forth. And I was not happy with it at all.
Yeah.
And so I ended up just going back to the alphabetical order. And
It's so much
you know,
easier, man. It really is.
well, to an extent, because I do love having my Blue Undergrounds together because they do all they're uniform, they look good.
Yeah, they look good together.
So I put them all together. All my Shriek Shows are together because what I love about Shriek Show is if they have a release of let's say, you know, a film where it's like 2 or 3 films, so it's like part one, part two, part three. They will try and get every title they can to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I believe I've got 2 of them where it has a sequel, and luckily Shriek Show actually put out the sequels, so I was pleased with that.
Yeah.
Um,
No
but all
doubt.
my midnight movies from MGM, that whole line, I've got all those together. And it looks really good. They're at the tail end of my collection.
Yeah.
Um, but but I remember at one point I had pulled everything off the shelf and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna categorize everything into subgenres, and that was a fucking mess.
Oh yeah, that's a pain in the ass. I
Because
thought about doing that at one time and then said, nope, I'm not doing
yeah,
that.
I think I was talking to you on the phone at the time while I was trying to like categorize everything, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna do creature features, but fuck, now I've got a bunch of fucking monster films. Wait a minute, does monster films fall under the categories as creature features? I'm really confused by this. And then I was like, well, Frankenstein, that is that zombie or so I was like, no, the hell with this, and I just put everything back in alphabetical order.
Yeah, that's why I keep you simplify it. You put them in alphabetical order, you simplify it. And I think with the more I don't know the more relevant companies, I might do that where I take those in particular and put them together, like Anchor Bay, Blue Underground, Code Red. I would love to put all my Mondo Macabros together because of the red cases, and they look so good together with the red cases.
Hmm.
Um, That's another company that would just look so uniform together. If you get all my Mondos out of the collection and put them all together, it would look really cool. Um, just because of their gimmick with the red cases. I mean, it just looks really neat. But yeah, man, I thought about this and that, and then at the end of the day, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep it simple, alphabetize them, and just keep it like that. And I've had it alphabetized for years now. I know. I think it was I got a wild hair to try to do it based on the company about 4 years ago, and that's when I gave up on it. So since it's been alphabetical, and even before then, it was alphabetical. But I would be like, you know what? I just want to tinker with the collection a little bit, move it around, and kind of see what it looks like. And I just like to keep it simple. Keep the box sets up at the top, which is another thing I wanted to get into was box sets and some of your favorite box sets and some of my favorite box sets, and just the fact that it's cool to display them because they truly are like a display piece. They really make the collection kind of pop. And I know when people come over and they see it, they the first thing they want to talk about is the box sets at the top. They're like, "Oh, these are cool, man. I like how you have them all displayed outward, but all the DVDs, the spines are out. So can you talk about them or this and that?" And I get in a lot of conversations about the box sets. So what are I'm just curious, Corey. What are some of your favorite box sets that you have in the collection?
Oh, so yeah, my favorite box set, and actually it's a pretty good steal. Well, okay, so my second favorite box set would probably be the Blind Dead collection.
Oh
I
yeah, gorgeous,
honestly,
gorgeous box set.
yeah. So again, Blue Underground. I
Hmm.
didn't know anything about the Blind Dead series going into it. By the way, love those films. They're awesome. Honestly, it was just the box set. I was like, I have to have that box set,
Yeah.
because it's a fucking coffin. I mean, that's so cool. So that's probably that's gonna fall under number two for me.
Okay.
Uh, as far as number one, it's got to be my Halloween box set from Scream Factory.
Oh yeah,
You
that's a
know,
yeah, that's a beautiful set.
it is. Just
Love the-
everything. The artwork. I even, you know what really popped for me was the black Blu-ray cases. That's
Oh,
what actually popped for me. I was like, oh, it's fucking cool.
they look amazing.
Yeah,
It's cool.
everything
It's
about
cool how
that.
they can pull you in. It's cool how they could pull you in just based off, the color of the Blu-ray case, or it's a little gimmick that they use that really get the collectors that get the juices flowing and get people excited about the set that they're coming out. I can't wait for that Friday the 13th set, man. That
Dude,
thing
I'm
looks
buying
beautiful.
that.
That thing is beautiful.
Yeah, I've been waiting on a box set for Friday the 13th coming out like that.
And that's
So
the definitive set. I can't wait for it to come out, man. I'm so excited.
yeah,
Sometime in October.
yep. But back to that. So funny story. My wife actually picked that up off of Amazon, and I think we were just sitting on the couch one day, and I had been keeping my eye on it because it was like $160 for that box set, and I was like, "There's no way I'm jumping on that. There's no way I can pay that for that box set."
Mhm.
And we were just sitting there, and then I think my wife got an email or whatever, and she said that the price was lowered all of a sudden. So she checked it out, and it was reduced down to $60. So she jumped on it immediately.
That's
And
crazy.
I think right after we bought it, the price went back up. But yeah, I got that box set for $60. So
Nice, dude. Yeah. I mean, for that set, that's a steal. I
that
mean,
is,
that's a steal.
yeah.
So did a good job.
But that's not even so. Okay, so I will jump into another little tangent on that. So we've got my favorite and second favorite, but my favorite find is the Hellraiser Anchor Bay 10.
Hmm.
You actually pointed that out at Second and Charles, and I got that thing for $2, dude.
Yeah, man, that's that
From
still
Anchor
blows
Bay
my mind.
10. So that blew my mind when I bought that.
Yeah.
So that's probably my favorite find as far as box sets. But what about you, man? What's your favorite box sets?
Oh man. I guess I'd have to break it up. So I'd go with my DVD box sets and I guess my Blu-ray box sets to kind of you know kind of make it even. But one of my favorite one of my favorite I'm with you on the Blind Date collection. I still love that coffin. It's
Hmm.
beautiful. It's so cool how they put it together. Blue Underground. That's one of the best box sets they've ever put out. Um, my oh man, my Maniac Anchor Bay 10 is really really cool. I'm such a big fan of that movie, and the fact that I got Savini to sign it and his name's on the front of it and stuff like that, it just makes it pop, makes it look cool. Um, I mean, Anchor Bay 10s in general are some of my favorites. I look at them and just the artwork, and it's really hard to find some that are in really really good condition. Because with the metal and stuff, they ding up, they get scratched up. I mean, it's you really have to do your homework and find one that's in great shape. Um, I'd say I'd say my favorite box sets are probably my Bava collection from Anchor Bay, my volume 1 and 2. I absolutely love this set. Well, both of them, they're gorgeous, and I love the director, of course, Mario Bava. He's the master, and the films that are included in them. I mean, there's so many, dude. There's so many. 5 films in the first set and 8 films in the second set, but they just look cool, and just love the color scheme on them. They pop. My probably my most expensive set and one of my favorites is my guinea pig collection box set from Unearthed. That one was not cheap. I still remember grabbing that one and yeah, so excited to get it because that was like the one that I've been looking for so long and finally was able to snag it. And that's probably my favorite though, dude. I mean, it's so simple. It's simple, but it works too. And the fact that it's got the movies in them. I mean, everything's in there. Everything's. I mean, I don't know. I still get giddy thinking about that one because that was a hard one to get a hold of, and I went back and forth with a guy for a couple days on that set. Finally, was able to get it from him. So that'd probably be my top right there. As far as the Blu-rays though, I don't know if you can get much better than that gorgeous Shock and Gore set that Arrow put out, the Herschel Gordon Lewis Shock and Gore set. That is by far my favorite edition that's ever been put out. I mean, it's amazing what they were able to put into that set. Um, it's gorgeous, man. Um, that's my favorite Blu-ray set easily. But then I'd have to go with Halloween as well because I'm a big fan of the series and stuff like that. And Scream Factory did just an amazing job putting that out. So I would have to shout that one out as well. But my tops is that Shock and Gore set. It's so much included in it. Um, it's just a beautiful set. And then they did another alternative set, which is really cool. It's like a cereal box, and it's got the movies in it and stuff like that. It's not the deluxe set, but it's really cool too. They just went above and beyond putting everything that they could into that set. You really can't go wrong with that. It's absolutely stunning, and it
Yeah.
really, the way I have it set up, it really just it pops, in the shelf. So, yep, those are mine, man.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
I know. Earlier you talked about Primal Rage being kind of your holy grail.
Yeah,
So I kind of wanted to talk about that. Um, how long did you say you were trying to find that one?
man, I was on because I had collect. I mean, I started collecting, like I said, Code Red early because those are some of the first couple of editions that I got in the collection with the Forest and the Dead Pit. So I had been on Primal Rage for well, probably around 5, 6 years, off and on, trying to find it. I mean, there was a time when you just could not find it at all. There was no listings for it on Amazon, eBay. I mean, I couldn't. It's not that I looked every day. I mean, I looked every once in a while, but I just never could find a copy. And the copy that I did find was like well over $100. And I mean, I just missed the boat on it when Code Red first put it out. And that's the thing with Code Red. If you don't grab them when they first come out and they're gone, man, they're gone. Like Bill, he he says, "Hey, I got a limited supply. I got a limited amount. I got 2,000 or whatever." And when I'm out, I'm out. And sure enough, they sold out. He was out, and you just could not find them unless somebody was going to get rid of theirs in their collection. So that was one that sold out really quick. And yeah, I was just on and on and on, just steady doing my homework for that movie. And then finally, and you know what? The anticipation had built up for so long that when I sat down and watched the movie was still like, it was well worth it because the movie is really fun. It's like essential October viewing, man. Takes place around Halloween and it's got a great, I'm telling you, man, it's such a fun movie. Me and you haven't seen it together. We need to have a movie night with it. It's a fun movie, dude. There's a lot going on, especially the end. There's like a Halloween party. Oh
Hmm.
man, there's a lot of carnage, and it's just something me and you'll have to see, dude. We'll have to have a movie night or something.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I'm definitely game. Um, yeah. As far as my holy grail, I think you know what that is.
Well, that would be so going back to that's another one. So those two would be my holy grails right there. The one I know you're about to talk about, and yeah, Primal Rage.
So
Because there's a whole other story with that one.
yeah. Well, I'm actually so okay. So yeah. So you know the story behind it. But yeah, my holy grail. And honestly, believe it or not, it wasn't a film. It wasn't a film that I remember from childhood or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. Um, Pretty much like I was at work one night because I was on third shift and I was talking to a buddy and I was like, on the phone looking, just looking around for films or whatever. And he was like, "What are you doing, man?" And I was like, "Hey, I think I'm gonna start collecting some horror films, dude." And from there, he was like, "Oh, you know what a good horror film is?" And he was like, "Rawhead Rex." He goes, and then he told me his like childhood story of watching this movie and stuff like that. And I was like, "Wow, this movie fucking sounds good. I'm gonna go pick it up, you know?" And then I come to find out that it is apparently or was like stupid rare. Like I remember finding titles like in the hundreds, and it's like, holy shit! Like people like were happy about this film, but yeah. So basically, the storyline behind it was what Artisan or Pioneer they kind of went belly up, and they were the only ones that really owned the rights to it. Um, so that was it. That was the only way that you could get a copy of that, and you had to basically pay for it because there was no other copies. I mean, you could get a Japanese version, and I think there was even a German version that I could order, but it just wasn't the same, because it came in those languages. So there is that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all region two and stuff, so that wasn't gonna work. Um, but so I think what was it, the night we came back from Mad Monster or something, but I even remember the guy's name was Ethan Gibbs on the Facebook group, and he posted a picture of a whole bunch of boxes talking about how his pal had passed away and left him his entire collection. And he was like, pretty much everything's duplicates, so I'm just going to be selling this stuff. So then I contacted him immediately and I was like, got a copy of Rawhead in there? And sure enough, he did. And and then he like asked me what a reasonable price would be, and I was like, I don't know how to answer that.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that.
Yeah, so I was like, just throw a number out there. And he was like, $50, it's yours. And I was like, holy shit. So I had to beg the wife to let me buy that one, but yeah. So that one was my holy grail, and it took me 5 years to find that movie.
Yeah.
Uh, in just beautiful condition. I think we watched it, like you and I sat down and watched it immediately
Oh
when
yeah,
that.
man. As soon as it came in, pretty
Yeah,
much.
So, and then funny story is like 2 years later, it came out on Blu-ray.
Yeah, the Blu-ray drops. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the risk you run, being a collector. You have to be smart about picking up, especially out of print DVDs and stuff like that. When when the price is really steep, you think and you're like, well, I'm gonna hold off because the Blu-ray might drop one of these days. So you just have to be careful whether or not you spend the big money on some of these titles or not, because that Blu-ray is always looming, and it's always
Mm.
going to be a lot cheaper than an out of print DVD. So yeah, it's that give and take with the collecting world. It's like, well, do I, run the risk of picking it up at this price or just hold off until that Blu-ray drops? And that's what I did for the longest time with Primal Rage. I was like, maybe, because Code Red had been they were putting out some Blu-rays here and there. Like maybe there's a chance they'll put that out on Blu-ray and I won't have to pay too much for it.
Mm.
But like I said, I'm like, you know what? After all those years of waiting, and then boom, I finally found a copy for a really, really good price. I was like, man, I got to get it. So I grabbed it, and sure enough, I get it, and then the Blu-ray drops. So yeah, there you go. But I mean that same thing because Rawhead for me was another one like you. I had that was a movie that I wanted. I wanted it in the collection because I'm a big creature feature guy, and
Hmm.
Rawhead Rex is a cool looking creature. I mean, he's badass looking.
Yeah, he
So
is.
I saw stills of him online and stuff like that, and I'm like, dude, I got to see this movie. It looks so amazing. Um, he just looks like a badass, like heavy metal demon. Like he's wicked as shit, man. So I
He
was like,
looks
man,
like
I
he
gotta.
came from Guar.
Yeah, he does. He looks like he's the missing member of Guar. He really does. So I was like, I got to see this, dude. I gotta check this movie out. And then you got it, and then we watched it, and I had a fucking blast with it, man. It was so much fun.
Hmm.
So I was like, after that, I'm like, Corey, I gotta find it, dude. I gotta find a copy. So I mean, we're looking. You would let me know, hey, man, I see a couple on, listed or whatever, and then finally found a finally found my copy, and you know what? Paid about the same price for what you paid for yours, man. And found out that when we were big in the Facebook group, the horror Blu-ray and DVD collectors group that we were in, um, one of my buddies on there, it was his. It was originally his DVD. So, because when I told him, I was like, "Man, I finally got Rawhead." He's like, "Really?" And he's like, "Who'd you buy it from?" And I told him the guy I bought it from. He's like, "No shit, man." He said, "I sold my copy to that guy, so you just bought my copy." I'm like, "That's fucking cool." It's cool how things go full. Yeah, it's cool how things go full circle like that. So
Uh-huh.
I was like, man, well, I know if it came from you, dude, it's gonna be in flawless condition. And soon enough, when I opened it up, looked at that disc, man, it was beautiful. It was like a first print. It was
Oh yeah,
fantastic. Yeah, so
like a beautiful mirror finish.
it really did, man. And I mean, it played phenomenally. No skips or jumps or anything. So I couldn't
Nice.
be happy. But that, yeah, Rawhead and Primal Rage are two of the holy grails for the DVD collection, man.
Oh yeah. Yep. So any new since you've gotten your Holy Grail, is there anything new that you've been on the hunt for? Like that now you've fed that addiction, now you're ready to jump onto the next?
Yeah, for the longest time, you're gonna think it's crazy, but another one I was trying to find was Night Beast, and because I'm like I said, big creature feature guy. Love the creature from Night Beast. He's cool looking. He's badass looking. I wanted to see the movie, but it was one of those trauma DVDs that was at the time it was pretty pricey, and you couldn't find a good copy. So I'm like, damn, man, I missed the boat on this one too. I should have bought this DVD a long time ago when it was readily available. So I waited and waited and waited, and finally found a decent price for it. Picked it up, and then the whole thing happens again. As soon as you pick it up and you get it, the Blu-ray's announced, and Vinegar Syndrome announced the Blu-ray. So I'm like, damn it! It always happens, man. I've been pretty lucky. I wouldn't say it always happens. I've been pretty lucky with it, but the couple of titles that I bought, you know, especially the Holy Grail titles, That's another one that I wouldn't call it a holy grail, but that and another one was Peeping Tom. I wanted the Criterion Blu-ray or DVD, excuse me. And that's another one that was pretty pricey. Peeping Tom has never been re-released on Blu-ray. It's only been released on DVD. So all you can find is that DVD. And
Yeah.
I found a copy of that for a really, really decent price. I was like, yep, I got to snag that because I've been wanting to watch. I mean, people say, that in Psycho, you can argue the first true slasher films. I mean,
Hmm.
Tom and Psycho. So I was like, well, I got to have that in my collection. I mean, if it's, the it's a proto slasher film, it's got to be, I got to have it because I'm a slasher fanatic. So um, that's another one I grabbed when I saw it for a decent price. And luckily, I mean, not luckily. I mean, I think we all would love a Blu-ray of Peeping Tom, but it still hasn't had, there hasn't been any talks about it being re-released by Criterion, or which I'm kind of surprised about. But
Hmm.
I'll take it, man. The DVD looks good. I mean, it's Criterion, so you're going to get quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I need to pick up more Criterion. I don't have enough. I got a guy that actually lives in the subdivision. He collects Criterion. And I'm like, oh, do you collect like horror films too? Or and he's like, I collect everything, but yeah, he went on to say that he collects, Scream Factory. He collects by the company,
Yeah. Okay.
which kind of blew me away. It's like, oh, but I mean, we had something to talk about. We talked about all the different horror films and stuff. Is he's a fan of just cinema in general, so which is pretty cool. But
Yeah. I can relate to that. Horror's definitely tops, and it's always going to be tops. But I like, I mean, I love cinema too. Everything cinema. I love, classic directors. I mean, everything. Like it. It's just, when you seek out movies from these guys, I mean, you want to see what they, if they're termed the master, you want to see. Well, let me see how, let me see if they can live up to it. And sure enough, you watch their movies and you're like, wow, I can definitely tell. This is on like another level of, some of the stuff you see. It's, you can it definitely is noticeable, you know, these guys' output. But that's another story. We're talking about collections. What about you, Corey? After you got Rawhead, was there another one that that you're like you had to hunt down and you had to find?
you know what? I'm on. You know what? Yeah, I there's actually a film that I'm on the hunt for now, and it's just come up recently because we've talked about it in the past, just here lately. But we were talking about Adam Albert's films and stuff, and I've yet to even watch Hunters. I want to watch that, because it's got, of course, it's got Linnea Quigley in it and stuff. So
Right.
I really want to watch it, just because it's another Adam film that I've never seen. Um, but yeah, I think I went to go find a copy, and the one copy I found was like $150 on Amazon. I was like, yeah, that's not happening. So,
That blows my mind, dude.
so I guess as far as Holy Grail, that's the next one. I'm on the hunt for that one. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't even know why I didn't mention this, but when I got my Clown House DVD, that's one of the most rare DVDs that you can that's out there, and I was able to snag a copy of that, and man, I'm psyched for it. And then probably the most expensive DVD I have, and I don't think it's ever going to change. Um, it blew me away when I found it at a convention. Could not believe I found it. The original Midnight Hour Anchor Bay DVD. That is bar none the most expensive DVD I think I've ever seen. Um, well, if you look it up on Amazon, eBay, I mean, it's stupid expensive. I mean, it's insanely expensive. And I found it at a convention of all places. This dude had these DVDs locked up in a little lockbox, and it was in there, and it was still sealed. And I could not believe the dude had it in there still sealed. And he
Dang.
wanted, and I hate to admit it, but I bought it at this price because I know how expensive it is. So he had a price tag of $100 on it. And you know what? You never, ever, ever see that DVD anywhere. So I was like, this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity. So yeah, I I, I had a budget, and unfortunately, I couldn't buy a couple posters and a couple other things. But when I saw that, I was like, I can't say no to this, man. I got to grab it, and I grabbed it, and I don't regret it. That that is the most expensive DVD I think that's in my collection, and I don't think that's ever going to change.
Wow.
That is literally the holy grail. Like when you find a sealed copy, not to mention a unsealed copy, but a sealed copy of Midnight Hour, that's insane, dude. So
That's pretty
that
good.
that is literally the holy grail. I mean, when you
Oh yeah.
talk about print DVDs, I've never seen anything more expensive than that DVD.
Hmm.
So, and it has yet to be re-released. There's been no talks about it being re-released or anything. So,
Yeah. It's pretty good, man.
yeah, that one was amazing, and I still to this day cannot believe I found that at a convention. I mean, I'm seeing. So I did a little research just now, and I went on eBay, and there's three copies um, that are posted. One of them's $255. Another,
God.
another one's $225 with $8.20 shipping, and there's another one for $150 with $4.70 shipping. And those are the only ones that are on there. I'm surprised there's three on there. I can't believe that. So
Wow.
yeah, that just goes to show you how stupid expensive that DVD is.
Yeah. Honestly, I honestly think that Rawhead's probably my most expensive DVD or film in general. I don't think I paid anything over $50 for anything. Um, I think I've over the years I've found really good deals, going to conventions and stuff.
Yeah.
And like like there was I think I even paid like I think like my second most expensive was 25 or $30 and I bought a copy of He Knows You're Alone.
Oh yeah.
But I had to have that because it's, Tom Hanks,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
it's
This is
one
first
of his
role.
first roles, yeah. So it's pretty
It's a good
good.
little film too. Really good film. Doesn't get
Yeah,
enough credit. It's a really good movie.
it is. It's a fun one.
Hmm. Yeah, that's the most expensive DVD I ever bought was that DVD. I've never paid over $100 for anything DVD wise, but that I just had to make a special exception for. Because I
Even when
mean,
you even when you crowdfunded, because I know that you've donated money before to
oh yeah,
films and stuff.
I've never crowdfunded something over 100. No, never. No, because there's a chance that you never get what you pay for. So I
Mhm.
couldn't ever. Not that I, not even if I had a chance to, I would normally crowdfund for the DVD package that they had or the Blu-ray package that they had, which was always around 25, 30 maybe, but
Yeah,
never 100. There's just no way. Could not take a chance on that.
right on.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, the next kind of tidbit I want to talk about, we kind of hit on it a little bit a minute ago. But we were talking about kind of subgenre in a sense. Do you have a specific like area in your collection for one subgenre? Like for instance, do you have like an area for just monster movies because you love monster movies?
Mm, I don't, man. Like I said, all of my stuff is the way my collection's set up is all my box sets are at the very top of my shelf. I have 8 shelves, and at the very top shelf are all my box sets lined up, and then I have on the second shelf down. I have the A's. They go all the way down to the eighth shelf, end at Z, and then after Z, I put all my Masters of Horror collection stuff together. So all of that's uniform. The first season, second season, and then I have the 8 films to die for. All those laid out, season to season, and then I do have my midnight movie double features together. Not single features, just the double features, and then I have the double feature or the film favorites, the collection stuff, like the multiple films and stuff like that, all
Yeah.
together too, at the very, very end. And then at the very end of the collection are all the documentaries.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
I see. I always put the documentaries at the end of um. Well, I take that back because, well, so like at the end of like Friday the 13th series, I do have all those together. I don't like breaking them up because then they're broken up. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah.
So all of those are together, and then the documentary's the last one. So it's in my Fs, but you know what I mean? So like Jason Takes Manhattan, that's that's sitting at number 8. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like I said, the very end is His Name Was Jason documentary.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so I usually do that with my documentaries, like even the Halloween documentary. Um, but like Machete Maidens, that's in there in the M's. I didn't put that at the bin. I thought about putting all the documentaries together. That wouldn't be bad.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't. The only thing that I like you said, I of course I put all my my crucial companies that I want together, and they're usually in certain sections. But all my shark films are together
Mm.
because
Okay.
we love shark films. So so I've got Jaws in there. I've got all the Sharknado films. And then I've got a bunch of other shark films that are just terrible. But so I've got all those listed together at the end. So it literally goes from A to Z, um, as far as DVD, and then down at the very end, I've got all my Blu-rays, which are now taking up 2 shelves, which I'm awesome. That's awesome. That stuff's really growing. And then I've got all my shark films at the ass end of the collection. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. And then, like
Yeah.
you said, I've got so I've on my top shelf, the very top one, I've got some box sets and then mainly action figures, and then I've got that Jason mask that was signed by Ted White. That's
Oh,
up there.
yeah. Yeah.
And then underneath is uh, 2 box sets, and then just all autographed DVDs. And then underneath that is all autographed Blu-rays.
See, that's
So
another thing I was thinking about. I like the way you set up yours, where you have the DVDs that are autographed set out to where people can see them and stuff like that. I got
yeah,
some that are autographed in the collection, but they're in the shelf. I just never
yeah,
had a place that I could actually display them properly because my room is now just, I have no room. I've ran
yeah.
out of room. I mean, I have another spot for another shelf, and that's about it. Other than that, I am completely out of room. Um,
Just you got to start moving your collection to separate rooms now.
or just yeah. But I haven't been picking up a lot of stuff per se. I've kind of pumped the brakes on collecting and stuff like that, just because it's you know not time consuming, but it's hard to kind of you know flush it in with the rest of like the collection, because everything is just I've hit like my peak. I've hit the part where I just can't you know I can't make any more room, so I'd have to like move it to a different room or move it to, and I don't know if I want to make that jump yet. So I've kind of like eased up on it a little bit, and now that the 6 movies I did blind buy this week, which is something I haven't done in a long time. Um, the way to fit them in is I'd have to put them in kind of diagonally along the the shelves where I have a little bit of space, and even then I don't really want to do that because it looks too cluttered. So you
Mhm.
don't want you never want your display to look too cluttered because then it doesn't look right. So, but unfortunately for me, that's the only place I can put them right now. I mean,
Yeah.
once I put them, you know, you know, upstairs or something like that, but I really don't want to do that. So, it is what it is. Just haven't been picking up a lot of DVDs, especially. I haven't picked up a lot of DVDs lately, but except for the ones that I did buy when I went a little. I said, yeah, wanted to make a point to get a couple blind buys and watch some movies. Just offhand, just not expecting anything and just seeing what happens. But um, that's the first time I've done that in a good minute. So especially when it comes
Yeah.
to horror. So um, I don't know. I'm just at this point. I'm just really, I'm gonna have to start being choosy, really picky. You know,
That's one thing I don't like being. But something that you've
me
always
too.
said is
Honestly,
some something that you've always said is quality over quantity. And
yeah,
I'm one that I would sit there with, I would walk in with $80 and walk out with like 20 movies.
yeah,
And they're all like garbage shit films. But that case really popped to me at the time, so of course I bought it.
yeah, no
But
doubt.
but and looking back, now it's like, okay, well, I'd much rather go to Eric's and spend $80 and walk away with four movies, because those four movies are rare, hard to find, and now I have them. So yeah, at some point as a collector, I've really, like you said, pumped the brakes on blind buys so much, and just really hunkered down on titles that I've really wanted for the collection. I've neglected that for like such the longest time, and even like now, there's been like titles, and honestly, and it goes back to even just cases, but like for instance, Death Ship. You know, it's something that I've always wanted to buy just because that case really pops to me. It's very oceany. It's just it just screams by me, and I've
Yeah,
never bought it. And I think I even found it in the wild one time, but it was like $15 or something, and I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that
hmm,
just because that's $15. I can buy three movies for $5. So, but at the end of the day, I think I ended up purchasing that on Amazon for like $6 for the Blu-ray,
yeah,
and then
man.
watched it, and I was like, oh, this movie's fucking garbage. Waited all this time, and I was like, it was just a shit show. I was like, I wasn't happy with it at all, to tell you the truth. I mean, it had its moments where I really liked certain scenes, but at a certain point, it was like, just get back on the fucking raft that you were on and just get out of there, because obviously the ship has it out for you. I mean, they should have knew it was a telltale sign when they were climbing up that fucking rope ladder and shit water started hitting them in the face.
No doubt, dude. Yeah, oh yeah. It's been a while
I
since
can
I've
go
seen
on
that movie.
I could go on a tangent about that movie, because like,
Yeah,
and then like, even going into it the first time, I was critiquing the shit out of it, and I was like, oh my god, there's a camera. Oh my god, there's somebody sitting behind the camera. You can clearly see that. It's terrible. But yeah, that kind of sets it up for something else I want to talk about though, real quick. What's your most hated film in your collection? Like
mm.
what's the one that you mainly regret buying, and to this day is it still sitting in your collection?
Oh man, it's tough, dude, because I've watched a lot of really really bad movies. I mean, just when you're out blind buying and stuff like that, sometimes sometimes it happens. You're like, hey, I'll give this movie a shot, and then you get home and watch it, and it's like, oh my gosh, like a chore to get through it. It's just so difficult to get through. Um,
Mhm.
Man, if I had to pick the worst one, that's tough. That really is tough, man. I don't know, man. You might have to go. What about you, Corey? You got
You
one that just like
you know which one? You know
Uh,
which one?
is it Chris?
No?
Is it Christmas Nightmare?
Fuck yes, it is. So that's the bad thing. So the cheapest film in my collection is A Christmas Nightmare. And so we went to a little place. You and I were together actually. We were at Manifest,
Hmm.
which is owned by FYE. Well, sadly, it no longer exists. Um, but so yeah, so we went in there, and again, with me, being the cheap guy that I am, I walk in there and I'm like, I'm gonna buy 80 movies for $10 today. And sure enough, that was one of the titles. And I'll never forget that because I contemplated buying it. And it was around Christmas time, I believe. And we're just, scrolling through the horror section, the used section, and Christmas Nightmare. And I was like, oh, what is this? And I pulled it out, and it's a really cool looking case, and it is a cool looking case. And
Yeah.
that's a
Cool.
lot of my blind buys was based upon if the case screamed at me, and which
Yeah.
that one did. But the price should have screamed something else like, don't fucking buy me.
Well,
Because,
I think subconsciously it goes back to the days when we were, growing up and in the video stores, and we saw a cover, and it gravitated us, and it really drew us in, and we rented the movie based on that cover. I mean, the cover just looked cool, so we're like, we got to see this, we got to check this out. So
yeah,
I know that's going off on a different thing, but I always think about that when we're talking about blind buys and DVD shopping and stuff like that. I always think about that. But yeah, sorry, buddy, go ahead.
oh no, you're fine. And believe it or not, I still do that. I still go to Walmart and like I'll dick around in the movie section and I'll be like, oh shit, this looks like a cool case. I'm gonna buy it. And then I look, I'll flip it over and be like, oh shit, it's done by the Asylum. I'm putting this shit back. But but yeah, so with this one, of course, I flipped it over and did not recognize the production company at all. Um, but it was a harder case too, like an old Anchor Bay case. So I was like, oh, this is probably good. And then
Mhm.
like the tag on it said 22 cents. It wasn't even 25 cents. It was 22 cents. And I was like,
Market quality.
yeah, should I jump on this? And then like I remember you actually being like, dude, I don't know if it's got a price that low, it's got to be fucking terrible. And I'm like, yeah, but it's 22 cents. Like, what is that? So at the end of the day, and then on top of it, like I think we ran into a deal like, buy two get one free or whatever, and I'm pretty sure that was the free one in that deal. So I probably got it for free. Because no Manifest, they always ran deals like that.
Yeah.
So I got it home and watched it and immediately hated everything about it. And I always say this that once a movie is in my collection, that's it. It doesn't leave.
Definitely.
Unless I upgrade it, from DVD to Blu-ray, which I doubt I would ever upgrade that piece of shit. So,
I don't think that piece of shit's ever gonna make it to Blu-ray, dude. Be honest. I don't think that's ever gonna happen.
well, the whole premise is like, so you see this killer with an axe, and like, he's in a Christmas ball, which is very cool looking. It has nothing to do with Christmas. I don't even think it's cold, and you don't even feel cold watching it. It feels
Oh,
like you're watching a summertime film that was shot on a cell phone or something. It was garbage. It was bad. But
pretty bad.
we should do a review on it and just rip in a new asshole.
Oh yeah, well, that's a movie that you definitely could, definitely just tear it apart like piece by piece. Yeah, I mean, easily, easily could do that. I mean, I think one of the worst movies I have in my collection is a film called Muck. Um, I
You
did
know,
not
I
have
wanted to
I
buy
didn't,
I wanted to buy that for the longest time.
yeah, I didn't have a fun time with it. I mean, it just was not fun. It's a wonky story. It's all over the place. I mean, I have probably, I mean, from what I remember, it looks good. I mean, it's not shot bad, but it was not fun. I did not. That's the one movie I remember watching. I was like, I did not have a good time with this. Did not have a good time with it at all. I'm just trying to think, like, because it's been a while since I sat down and watched the movie and just had a dreadful time with it. I've actually been on a pretty good streak of watching some good stuff. Um, there's another one I watched, but this was way back in the day when I first started collecting. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I think it's no, I don't even have it in the collection, so never mind. I can't even say that. I can't even say it because I don't have that in my collection. I guess Muck would be mine, man. Muck was bad. It was really, really bad. I got sucked in with the cover. Cover looked good. To your point, going along with Christmas Nightmare, you see a cover and you're like, this looks really cool. Um, and it was a Walmart. It was a Walmart pickup. I remember. Because I was like, I was thinking about should I get the DVD? Should I get the Blu-ray? Because there was two, and the Blu-ray was a little bit more pricey. I was like, let me just stick with the DVD, see if I like the movie, and if I like it, I'll upgrade eventually. Nope, didn't like it, so never upgraded. Didn't enjoy it at all. It was weird. The way the story was structured was really odd. It was just really bad. So, yeah, that that's the one that really pops out for me. Is Muck. Muck was pretty terrible.
Right on.
Yeah. But like I'm like you, man. Like I said, when the movie gets into the collection, like I'm not gonna cast it off, and because I'm a really big believer in like if you watch a movie for the first time and it wasn't good or anything, I believe in the whole rewatchability thing. Like give it another shot. Maybe you were in a bad mood or you weren't really in the right state of mind when you watched it, and maybe you judged it a little bit unfairly, and you always give it a second chance. And then I mean, I've talked to a lot of collectors that they said, hey, I thought about trashing this movie when I first saw it. I did not enjoy it at all. But then one day I don't know, I just had a feeling, I need to pop this in and check it out, see if it's as bad as I remember. And then sometimes they completely change their mind on it, and they actually give it a positive review, or they actually really enjoy it. So you know,
Yeah.
that's why, I mean, that's part of the reason why I never get rid of stuff. I'm always like, man, maybe if I watched it and I wasn't in the right state of mind, or maybe I was too tired, or maybe I was just, pissed off or angry or something like that. You don't want to sit down and watch something when you're, pissed off or you're too tired or whatever. You want to give it your, full attention, and you want to give it a fair shot. So I don't ever, I don't ever get rid of my shit either, dude. Once it's in the collection, it's in the collection.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, have we think we covered everything?
I think so, man. So,
um which this is kind of I did want to talk about episode 15 a little bit on here, which we'll also cover it next week as well when we're on the next episode. Um but this is kind of opening it up a little bit, I think, for episode 15, which you and I both came up with the idea of, let's do a Q&A about our collection, stuff like that for episode 15. Um, but yeah, so yeah, what we're gonna do is basically you guys shoot us a question, whether it be in the comments here or you can email me at the mad the mad sorry, midnight monster corner podcast um, at gmail.com, and I'll leave a link down below for that. And then also in our Facebook group, um, I've tried generating a quick discussion just of questions, and we'll jot down the questions and we will answer them. That way we can kind of share a little bit more about our collections. I think that would be really cool. What's your thoughts on that, Tony?
yeah, I think it's a great idea, man. I'd love to do that. Getting more engagement with the listeners, and that's what it's all about for me, man. So I'm definitely down for that. It's a great idea.
Yeah, definitely. But well, folks, with that, you've been listening to the Midnight Monster Corner podcast. And like always, like, share, subscribe. Check us out on Facebook. And Also Instagram, we're there as well. Well, I am on there periodically. But like always, just keep us going, guys. And like I said, join the discussion on Facebook and generate those questions for episode 15. We really want to answer some questions. And I believe we even have some prizes as well. If we like a question, um, or I'll tell you what, why don't we just make it fair? And instead of just liking a question, why don't we just, do a random draw or something? So if you got questions, we'll enter your name into a drawing and you could win some stuff. Um, Tony, you got anything to add to that, man?
No, man. Like I said, Corey, you knock it out the park with it, man. So
All right, folks. Well, that's going to conclude the show. Later, guys.
later.